One, two, three,
All
not
right,
it.
we are we are rolling. Okay, so I've got to tell you, I was telling my best friend that I wanted to start a podcast, and he said,
Yeah.
"You're not that guy." So I'm pretty excited that you and I are kicking this off.
He said, "You're
Yeah,
not that guy."
he's like, "You're not made for a
Oh,
podcast." So I'm hope we're recording. So hopefully, when I make it big and make tens of dollars of my podcast,
that's right.
I will take him to lunch or something.
That's right. My podcast money is paid for this lunch. I do remember being told I had a face for radio, and I thought, so you think I got a shot? I'm a celebrity.
There you go.
Uh, it was years later before I really understood the nature of that compliment. So,
That's funny.
but why a 5-minute podcast, Chris? The world is full of hour-long,
Yes.
10-hour podcasts.
Yes.
5 minutes.
Yes.
Is this like 5-minute
5
ads?
minutes. So basically that's about as long as it takes. Actually, it's probably closer to 10 to 15 minutes for my walk from my car to work. And so we'll hit a
Okay.
topic and it will be good and funny sometimes, and other times it will be terrible, and we'll see what happens.
Nice. I like what you did there to manage
Yeah, keep them
expectations.
low.
Let's not. Yeah.
Keep them
Yeah.
low.
We know early listeners will both mostly be like a sympathy
Yeah.
play. There's some sense of obligation, and we'll really lean into that
Yeah.
empathy. Kind of like when we took the kids around in grade school and sold all that crap to our neighbors.
Absolutely. My
So,
mom might
yeah.
listen, but my dad definitely won't. I'm just kidding. They're like, "Call me when you have 3 users or 3
Mhm.
listeners."
I don't want to be the
You
first. I'm not an
Yeah,
early
you're
adopter,
like,
but if you have three, I'll
"It has
listen.
to be more than
That's
Toby and
awesome.
your mom." Right, fine. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, good. So we already have a game plan
Yeah.
for how we're going to get to maybe as many as five. So I like this.
Yeah.
No, Chris, you and I have been talking about something like this for a
Yep.
while, and I think it's because um, we stumble into different
Oh, yeah.
things, and we both have a tendency to get wrapped around the axle on different
Yeah, yeah.
ideas, and so maybe this will be a therapeutic way
Yeah,
to get it out of our brains,
absolutely.
and if if you and I can't find value in it, maybe somebody
There
else
you go.
can, or they'll just buy us
Yeah.
outright. Maybe somebody will launch a hostile takeover and
Yeah.
golden handcuff this podcast before we get too
Yeah,
started.
boot us out. I think where
That's
this
it.
kinda got started is I purchased, and I have a habit of starting and not finishing, but I purchased process debt because, 1, it was available, and I've told a couple friends about it,
I
and
love
they're
it.
like, "Oh, that's so good," because so many
Yeah.
people see it in their day-to-day job, and they're so
Hmm.
tired of doing things that they don't understand and working with
Yeah.
things and being like, why do we do this? And there's no real good like focus or direction or reason. And so I think that's kind of where this started. And
100%.
you and I kicked it off and we're like, hey, we come from 2 completely different worlds, right? I come from the corporate world. You come
That's
from
right.
consulting. You've been doing consulting for a really long time. I think you have a super strong
Yeah.
finance background. I'm an operations nerd. And so maybe we can come together and make some people laugh, make people cry when we tell them about their life. life.
We'll have to see what sparks
Yeah.
the ratings. It may not be the things we think are funny. But I think what's really resonated with me about the idea of process debt is that oftentimes we've heard tech
Oh
debt
yeah.
and making bad choices early and not doing the hard
Yep.
work up front, and then you're just kicking the can down the road. And the more we've talked about it over the last year, 18 months, or 2 years, or however long, decade. Um, what I do think though is that I see these forms of debt in every facet
Yeah.
of our lives,
Yeah.
and so now into my early 50s, and I think, gosh, I have processed debt in my exercise
Oh
regimen.
yeah.
I have processed it in how I
Yeah.
eat and how I sleep and in my
Yeah. Yeah.
relationships. And it's not always
Yep.
equal, but it comes back to, you live an easy life and you have hard
Yep.
outcomes, and that's
Yep.
hard. You do the hard things to make an easy
Yep.
life, and that's hard. however you choose
Yeah.
it. And the same is true in business, right? The quick fixes, the
Yeah.
just enough for now, or take the time, do it right,
Yep.
build good
Yep.
habits. And I think that's where we start to really impact process
Yep.
that is when we think about why are we doing it and what is the habit we're trying to build.
Yeah.
I think that can be as valuable as getting the process right
Yeah.
the first
It's
time.
kind of funny because
So,
I've told you I've kind of gotten back into running, right? Which competitive and I want
yeah.
to run fast. And so I bought this really nice Garmin watch and I bought this heart monitor rate because I wanted to be like, look, well, I just want to do it based on my heart rate because I think that will be better. And my watch gives me all these metrics, just tons and tons of metrics. And so yesterday I'm running a half marathon in 2 weeks.
Feature
Yeah.
rich.
So yes, I
Okay.
get like all
Nice.
the metrics in the world. Right. And yesterday I'm like, I just have this wild hair where I'm like, you know what? What if I lost 10 pounds? Like, what would that be? And I, go to the Google sphere
Mm,
and they're like,
yeah.
that's basically like 2 minutes off your 5K. And I feel like we have like this
What?
happens in business all the time where it's like we want all the best metrics. I want a blood pressure cuff. I'm going to get I'm going to get the heart rate strap. I'm going to get the great watch. And really what it comes down to, I'm too heavy to run as fast as I want to.
But wait a second. I cut the
You're like,
check.
but
I received the
I
gear.
I want the metrics. Give me the metrics. You're like, lose some weight. Like,
Eh,
let's just start there. But anyway, it was
Let me
just a
give you
funny
a
story from my own life.
dude. In that same vein, I know more steps is what I need to do. I don't think I'm quite as
Yeah.
competitive. Clearly not because I'm not running, but I'm walking and I'm like, well, I can walk faster. I want to get the steps in, but I don't want to take as much time. So this is why people run. That's what I've decided. It's not because they like it. It's because they have a certain amount of exercise and not enough time
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
to
yeah.
walk it
That's
slowly.
awesome.
But as an ambler, I thought I'm going to really walk like a man with purpose. And what I discovered was I'm still only walking 3.5 miles an hour when I think I'm power walking like Billy Crystal. Like, I don't know if I need the tights. Now I'm a little worried that I'm just too heavy
That's funny.
and I have so much gravity that I'm wrestling. But you're right.
That's awesome.
Businesses deal with the same gravity. They still think that you buy the gear and you get all the
Yeah, yeah.
results, but you gotta suit up
Yep.
and get in the game.
Yeah, I
So
think,
maybe lose 10
that kinda
pounds.
leads into one of the first kind of topic areas that we wanna talk about, which is the other day I
Yeah,
posted on LinkedIn about knowledge work. And it's something that I've told you and you're like, "Well, that's really good," but which is knowledge
absolutely.
work has to be discoverable and it has to be transferable. And if it's not those things, like, what are you doing? And I
Yeah.
got this thought. I think I got some of it from The Design of Everyday Things, which is a phenomenal book on design, which is this, it talks about discoverability. But that
Yeah.
transferability, you think about why developers get paid so much. It's because the work that they do is just consistently transferred to everybody in the org. And if you think about
Yeah.
like, if you go to management and product managers and project managers and different parts of the org, a lot of knowledge
Yeah.
work is just stuck in someone's head. And so we are over our time. You know, we're over our 5 minute threshold. So what we should do is we'll pick that up for next time. I'm excited to get these under our belt, publish them out to the world and get made fun of by, people like my best friend. It'll be great.
That's it. That's it. That's really it will be the envy, the belle of the
Yeah. Yeah.
ball, the not paying attention to our own self-imposed 5-minute limit. But I like that you're teasing the next episode. Maybe this will be our
Yeah.
motion. So those eternal optimists will continue to tune in.
Very cool.
All
All
right.
right.
Sounds
Thanks,
great.
man.
Thank you.